Every time you tap your card at a cheap petrol station in the UK, there is a quiet war happening inside your engine that you cannot see, cannot hear, and will not feel, until your mechanic hands you a bill for £800 to £1,200. The fuel sitting in that underground tank right now may be completely legal. It may meet every government standard. It may pass every trading standards inspection. And it may still be slowly coating your intake valves with a layer of carbon deposits that will take a technician 2 hours and a bag of crushed walnut shells to clean off. Nobody at the pump is going to tell you that. Nobody at the pump even knows. That is not bad luck. That is the business model. Before we dive in, comment where you are watching from and click subscribe. Here is what the fuel industry does not want you thinking about while you're standing in the rain outside a forecourt on the A1 at 7:30 on a Tuesday morning trying to remember your PIN number. Not all petrol is the same. I know that sounds obvious. You already know premium costs more than regular. You already know E10 replaced E5, and that it apparently dissolves older rubber seals. But the gap I am talking about has nothing to do with octane rating and everything to do with detergent additives. And the UK government has done almost nothing to protect you from it. Here is how the system works. Every petrol retailer in the UK must meet a minimum fuel quality standard set by the British Standards Institution. A minimum, a floor. The lowest acceptable bar before the product is technically classified as fuel rather than something you use to strip paint off a driveway. They set that bar low enough that almost nobody trips over it, and then they walked away. Above that floor sits a voluntary certification program called Top Tier. It was developed by a coalition of car manufacturers including Toyota, BMW, Honda, General Motors, and Volkswagen. Because those manufacturers looked at the government minimum standard and said out loud, in an actual press release, that it was not sufficient to keep their engines clean. They did not whisper this internally, they published it. They created an entirely separate certification program because the legal minimum was already damaging the engines. They were spending billions of pounds to engineer. Let that land for a second. The people who built your engine looked at what is legally allowed in UK fuel and said publicly that it is not good enough for their machines, and the government kept the standard anyway. Top-tier certification requires a significantly higher concentration of detergent additives than the government minimum. These additives do one job: they prevent carbon deposits from forming on your fuel injectors and intake valves. Without them, every single fill-up leaves a little more residue behind. Not a lot, just a little. Every tank, every week, for years, until your mechanic shows you a photo of your intake valves and your stomach drops. Most British drivers have no idea this standard exists, let alone whether the station they have been loyal to for a decade actually meets it. Here is where it gets worse. And I need you to stay with me because it is the mechanical reason that cheap petrol in 2026 is a fundamentally different risk to cheap petrol in 1999. Starting around 2012 and accelerating hard through 2018, the majority of new cars sold in the UK switched to gasoline direct injection engines, GDI. You've seen it marketed under different names. Ford calls it EcoBoost. Volkswagen calls it TSI, Audi calls it TFSI, Mazda calls it SkyActiv. They all use the same basic architecture. Fuel is sprayed directly into the combustion chamber rather than into the intake port upstream of the valve. On paper, this is brilliant engineering. Better fuel atomization, more power from a smaller displacement, better fuel economy figures on the window sticker. This is why your 1.0-litre Ford Fiesta produces the same power as a 1.6-litre engine from 15 years ago. Here is the problem nobody told you about at the dealership. In the old port injection system, fuel washed over the intake valves on every single combustion cycle. That constant fuel bath kept the valves clean. Carbon had nowhere to settle. A 2002 Honda Civic with 150,000 miles on it would have intake valves that looked almost new, because the fuel itself was doing the cleaning on every cycle. In a direct injection engine, nothing touches the intake valve. The fuel bypasses it entirely and goes straight to the combustion chamber. The valve sits in a stream of hot recirculated exhaust gases, accumulating carbon deposits with every combustion cycle, and there is nothing washing it off. Now layer cheap fuel on top of that. Fuel with low detergent levels leaves more residue than it should. By 40,000 to 60,000 miles, your intake valves look like the inside of a chimney flue. Your engine is misfiring under light throttle. Your fuel economy is down, your turbocharger is working harder than it was designed to. And you are going to pay between £800 and £1,200 for a walnut blasting service that the manufacturer's own engineers knew you would eventually need and chose not to mention at point of sale. This is not bad luck. This is the predictable consequence of filling up at the wrong places for 5 years. Let us name names. Number 11. Unbranded independents. This is not a single brand, it is a category, and it is the most dangerous one on this list. Across the UK, there are thousands of independent petrol stations operating under no recognisable brand whatsoever. No supply agreement, no additive standard beyond the legal minimum, no accountability beyond what trading standards requires. These stations buy fuel on the spot market, the cheapest available from whatever terminal will sell it at that price on that day. Sometimes that fuel has been sitting in secondary storage longer than it should. Sometimes the ethanol blend is inconsistent. Sometimes the additive package is whatever the supplier included that week. Your engine cannot tell the difference at the pump. It will tell you 50,000 miles from now. Number 10. Jet. Jet operates a network of independently branded stations across the UK, supplied primarily through Phillips 66. There is no public commitment to detergent additive standards above the government minimum. Jet is not top-tier certified. In a franchise model with no enforced quality floor, you are gambling with your intake valves every time you fill up. You do not find out you lost that bet for years. Number 9. Gulf. Gulf stations in the United Kingdom operate through a licensing arrangement. Fuel quality is variable, and it depends on the individual site's supply agreement rather than a consistent brand standard. Gulf is not top-tier certified across its United Kingdom network. The name carries decades of heritage. The fuel inside does not always earn it. Number 8. Certus Energy supplied sites. Certus is the United Kingdom's largest independent distributor of fuel to petrol stations. When fuel supplied by Certus arrives at a retail forecourt operating under a generic or local brand, there is no published additive package and there is no top-tier certification. If you regularly fill up at a station you do not quite recognise, there is a meaningful chance Certus is the supplier. That is a minimum standard guarantee, not a quality one. Number 7. Harvest Energy. Harvest Energy supplies independent petrol stations across the UK and is not top-tier certified. Their fuel meets the government minimum. That minimum was not designed with your direct injection engine in mind. Number 6. Merco. Merco operates a network of dealer stations, primarily across England and Wales. It is not top-tier certified, and there is no publicly disclosed additive package above the legal minimum. For an older naturally aspirated engine, Merco is probably survivable long-term. For anything with a turbocharged direct injection engine built after 2012, you're making an expensive assumption every time you pull in. This one surprises people. I want to be precise because supermarkets are where a huge proportion of British drivers fill up. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda and Morrison's all operate large petrol station networks. Some of those sites are top-tier certified, but not all of them. Certification varies by individual site and by fuel grade. A Sainsbury's in one postcode may be fully certified, A Sainsbury's in another postcode may not be. The brand name alone tells you nothing. The only way to know is the top tier website. I will come back to that. Number 4. Eurogarage's sites not on the top tier list. Eurogarages is one of the UK's largest petrol station operators, running sites under multiple brand names. The brand displayed on the forecourt sign does not always reflect the fuel supply chain behind it. A Eurogarage's operated site that displays a familiar major brand may or may not be sourcing from that brand's certified supply network. Verify the specific location. The sign is a marketing decision. The fuel is an engineering one. Number 3. Motor Fuel Group sites not on the top tier list. Motor Fuel Group is the second largest independent forecourt operator in the UK, with over 900 sites nationwide. MFG operates under various brand names and supply agreements. Certification is site-specific, not brand-wide. The top-tier website is the only reliable way to confirm your specific site. Number 2. BP Regular Grade, not BP Ultimate. This surprises people because BP is on the recommended list later in this video. The distinction matters enormously. BP Ultimate contains a genuinely elevated additive package that earns its place on the good list. BP Regular is a different product with a different additive concentration, and it does not consistently meet top-tier standards across all UK locations. If you have a direct injection engine and you are buying BP Regular, because the BP name feels like quality assurance, you're making an expensive assumption based on a logo rather than a fuel specification. Number 1. Shell Regular Grade, not Shell V-Power. Same principle as BP. Shell V-Power earns its place on the recommended list. Shell Regular Grade does not consistently meet top-tier standards at all UK locations. Shell at the top of a totem pole tells you the brand. It does not tell you which product is going into your tank. The grade tells you that. At standard grade, the Shell name is doing work the fuel specification cannot always support. Before I give you the 5 stations that actually protect your engine, I want to ask you something directly. Drop a comment right now. What petrol station have you been using for the last 3 to 5 years? Just the name. And if you have had an unexpected engine repair in the last 2 or 3 years, mention that too. Include anything your mechanic described as carbon buildup, injector cleaning, or general wear. I already know what a significant number of those comments are going to say, and I already know the pattern that is going to appear between the station and the repair. That pattern is not a coincidence. It is a government standard designed to be easy to meet, not to protect a direct injection engine that did not exist when the standard was written. Number 5. Texaco at top tier, certified locations. Texaco's Techron additive package is top tier certified and has maintained that certification consistently. Where you find a certified Texaco site, you are getting fuel formulated with your engine's long-term health as part of the design brief. Check the top-tier website for your nearest certified Texaco location. Number 4. Esso at Esso supplied locations. When Esso is operating through a terminal supplied directly by Esso with the full Synergy certified additive package, it is among the best fuel available in the UK. Esso has been top-tier certified since the program launched. The critical word is supplied. Not every site displaying the Esso brand sources directly from an Esso terminal. Some independently operated Esso branded sites in smaller towns purchase through third-party supply agreements that do not include the full certified additive package. The sign says Esso. The fuel is not always Esso Synergy. In any major British city, an Esso site is almost certainly correctly supplied. In a rural location, verify on toptiergas.com before you fill. 45 seconds to search your postcode. Number 3. BP Ultimate contains an active cleaning compound, not just a preventative. It is a cleaning agent that actually removes deposits. This matters if you have been filling up at a non-certified station for the last few years, because your intake valves may already have deposits forming. A consistent rotation of BP Ultimate will not replace a professional walnut blasting service if the build-up is already advanced. But in the early stages it will slow the accumulation and can begin to reverse it. This applies to BP Ultimate only, not BP Regular, not BP Standard unleaded. The grade matters more than the brand. Number 2. Shell V-Power. Shell V-Power uses a nitrogen-enriched cleaning formulation. It is top-tier certified. The technology is designed specifically for the carbon buildup problem in direct injection engines, the exact failure mode we have been discussing. If you drive a modern turbocharged direct injection engine, which describes most cars sold in the UK since 2015, Shell V-Power is one of the best things you can regularly put in it. V-Power only, not Shell regular, not Shelf. Fuel save V-Power. Number 1. Sainsbury's at top-tier certified locations. This is the recommendation that surprises people most. Sainsbury's has been expanding its top-tier certified forecourt network consistently. Their certified sites source fuel through supply agreements that meet the full additive concentration the top-tier standard requires. Because Sainsbury's operates one of the densest petrol station networks in the entire UK, the probability that your nearest top-tier certified station is a Sainsbury's is genuinely high. More importantly, Sainsbury's fuel is not premium priced. You are paying standard supermarket petrol prices for top-tier certified fuel. That gap in value is the best deal in British motoring right now, and almost nobody is discussing it. Check toptiergas.com, search your postcode, see if your local Sainsbury's is on the list. If it is, you've just found the smartest fill-up near you without paying a premium for it. Let me show you the full cost picture. Because the real price of cheap fuel has been successfully hidden behind the pence per litre frame. Most British drivers think about fuel in pence per litre. That is exactly the frame the cheap stations want you stuck in. 3 pence cheaper sounds like a win at the pump. It is a loss at the garage 3 years from now. A direct injection engine running non-top tier fuel from new will typically show measurable intake valve deposits by 40,000 miles. By 60,000 miles, those deposits cause combustion inefficiency, your engine burning more fuel to produce the same output. Industry estimates put that inefficiency at 3 to 6% of fuel economy once deposits are significant. On a car averaging 40 miles per gallon and driving 10,000 miles per year, a 5% fuel economy loss costs you roughly £150 per year in additional petrol. Quietly, while you congratulate yourself on saving 3 pence a litre. Add the walnut blasting service. In the UK, that runs between £800 at an independent garage and £1,200 at a main dealer. The premium for top-tier fuel over non-certified fuel is typically 2 to 4 pence per litre. On a 55-litre fill-up, that is between £1.10 and £2.20 extra per tank. Fill up once a week for 5 years and you have spent between £286 and £572 more on fuel quality. That is against a £1,000 cleaning service that you now do not need. Spending less than £600 more on better fuel over 5 years to avoid a £1,000 repair is barely a maths problem. Here is the rule. Write it somewhere. Check the certification. Check your injection system. If your car was built after 2012 and uses a turbocharged petrol engine, you need top-tier certified fuel. Not occasionally. Every time, go to toptiergas.com. Search your postcode, find certified stations near you. Make one of them your default. Not the one with the cheapest sign on the way to work, the one actually formulated for the engine you spent £15,000 to £35,000 buying. The pump does not warn you. The brand sign does not protect you. The mechanic who eventually hands you the invoice will call it normal wear. It is not normal, it is preventable. And you now know exactly how to prevent it. If this video just saved your engine, subscribe to Ripped Off Britain. Because next week we are going inside the UK tyre market. There is a category of tyre being sold at Halfords, on eBay, and through online comparison sites right now that is genuinely dangerous on a wet British road. Not inconvenient, dangerous. The stopping distance difference between these tyres and a properly rated alternative is the length of 2 cars at 70 miles per hour. On a wet motorway, in October, in the dark, the EU gave every tyre sold in Britain a wet grip rating from A to G. Most drivers have never seen it. Retailers are not required to explain it. And the tyre rated F for wet grip is still legally sold and legally fitted today. We are naming the brands. We are showing you the ratings. We are telling you exactly what to look for on the sidewall before you let anyone near your wheels. Subscribe so you do not miss it. And if someone you know is about to buy tyres, send them this video first. This is Ripped Off Britain.